Today I have a treat for you. I am so excited to share the 101 leadership questions to spark that meaningful dialogue in one-on-ones, team meetings, reflection, etc. And right now you can download it for free. This is a working session, so if you can pause this, grab this down below, click the link, it'll show up just like this. Download it, print it out. So we're gonna go through these today. While you're pulling that up, I'll also show if you wanted to get even more, what I just released is the Complete Leader Package, and that includes 101 more leadership questions, plus you'll get my Complete Leader Playbook, and this is my favorite, 52 team meeting activity cards, printable just like this. So make sure you grab the Complete Leader Package. That is down below as well. Now let's dive into the 101 leadership questions. I broke this into 5 categories for you, and I put the most popular up front. The feedback that I've been receiving is that I want questions for my one-on-ones to really get a deeper connection, ask some really thoughtful questions. So we started with one-on-ones. Then we went to team meetings. These can be turned into activities, for questions. Again, it's all to spark that meaningful dialogue throughout. And then the rest of these is really for reflection. You know, if I'm in the trenches, it's hard for me to stop and think about what I'm doing. First, it's about you as a leader individually. This is for your development. And then here, there are questions about your team. Maybe there's specific strategies to get the most out of your team, and instead of just running in circles, you can be thoughtful on how you set that up. It's about systems and processes and things to really engage them. And then here is to think about the future. If you want a seat at the table, if you want to become a thought leader, then I put together 21 questions here to really help you think forward so that your leadership team looks to you as a thought leader. Now on the next page, I walk you through how I recommend you use this download. Think of a focus area. Is it reflection? Is it one-on-ones? Is it team meetings? Is it thinking about the future? And then I want you to just read through and review the questions. Then I want you to start to highlight things that stand out to you. Which are the ones that really hit home? Next, I want you to put some thought into it. When can I use this? How can I use it? Why am I going to ask this specific question, whether it's in that one-on-one, the team meeting, or during your reflection? And then I want you to start asking these questions. I want you to start using them within the next week so that you can start seeing the impact of them. And what's interesting in the one-on-ones, you'll find that some open up some of your team members more than others. And maybe you'll have to mix and match, etc. And then continue to go back, refine, repeat, edit it, maybe change up the wording, etc. But this is a working document. So let's dive into our one-on-one questions here. There are 20 of them. And what you're gonna find is that on each of the questions, I actually put down 3 questions in one. Now, on my shorts, if you go to my short videos, you're going to see that I've done a lot of these questions on the whiteboard in 1-minute sessions, so you can see how I ask this. Now, we all have an agenda for our one-on-ones. So what we're going to do is we're going to insert this into what you're already doing so that it's a very natural flow. But it's going to surprise your team because you're going to be a little bit more thoughtful. You're not just going to go through their stats, their metrics, ask a personal question, and then what do you want to discuss? You're going to get a little bit deeper. So I want you to decide in your mind, where in my agenda is this going to kick off? Now, what I like to do is usually I'm going to ask them a personal question. How's it going? What kind of items do you have? Right? And then I'm going to move into this. This is when I want to actually have a full-on discussion, whether I have to have a tough conversation or maybe I have to address a performance need. I'm actually going to do this before that so that they open up, and then I can address something specific. So that's how I like to use it. I usually like to have 1 or 2 of these questions that I'm going to focus on so that I'm not asking like 20 different questions in each session. So let's go through just a few of these. As you can see, one of the first ones, I have done this before, but how do you feel about your current workload? You know, are there any tasks that you find particularly overwhelming or unmanageable? And how can we better distribute or prioritize those tasks, right? And the way that I'm asking that is, I'm not just reading this. I've probably read it a couple times. Perhaps I've written it down on a notebook so that I'm not just bringing in this document into my one-on-one. So I'm gonna write this out, and then I might have it on either a note card, or maybe I have it in my notebook, and I just glance down and I ask them. And it's okay to be transparent with your team, to be like, I'd like to ask you a few questions just to deepen our relationship, to kind of spark some real dialogue here. Would that be okay? Sure. I'm okay with you asking questions like that to open this up. Now, the next one, all right, so what are the biggest challenges that you're facing right now? And how have you tried to address them so far? What resources or support would help you overcome these challenges? So now what's starting to happen is you're really opening up and focusing on a specific topic, whether it's they're overwhelmed, they're stressed, maybe it's a challenge. And what I'd like to do is maybe I'm asking different questions to different team members that I'm noticing something's happening. Maybe their production has dropped, and so I might ask a question about challenges, about workload, right? So I'm not just asking this randomly. I'm being really thoughtful on who I'm gonna ask for each of these. If you're having someone that you feel is starting to distance themselves from the team, then you can ask a question like this. What motivates you to stay with this organization and team? Are there any factors that might cause you to consider leaving? How can we improve your overall job satisfaction? I don't want to be surprised or have them be surprised, right? Or think that I don't know what's going on if they're considering leaving. So I want to have a question like that when I'm starting to feel that separation. So what you can also use this for is situational. When I notice certain things are happening, then I can ask these specific questions. One of the most popular ones is this one. How do you feel about the level of accountability in our team? What can be improved to ensure everyone is meeting their commitments? And then how can I support you in staying accountable? So that takes a very tough conversation and topic, accountability, makes it a little bit easier, and gets some transparency. It also builds like, we're building this together. So when I do hold you accountable, we built this and we had that whole conversation. So it really lays the groundwork for accountability. Continue to go through these, work through them for your one-on-ones, situationally, or if you want to ask that to everyone, you absolutely can. But whether you're a brand new leader, you're experienced, it's a great way to deepen your relationship and spark that meaningful dialogue. Now let's go to our team meetings. What I did is I put little topics here, bolded as you can see. So number 7 here is really popular. If you are not celebrating small wins, this is a great one for the entire team. So usually what will happen is, hey, bring a notebook, bring a piece of paper to the team meeting, and let's have a conversation. You're gonna have a discussion around a specific topic. So let's say it's celebrating wins. What small wins have you or we accomplished recently that might have gone unnoticed? I love words like unnoticed, because some people might say that person over there had a great call the other day, or they did a really great job, right? It's a good opportunity for others to celebrate and bring something to the forefront. How can we celebrate and build on them? That's a great question. And then even deeper, how can these wins help us achieve big goals? So we're all as a team, we're thinking about it together, and then it creates a culture of not only winning, but celebrating those wins, no matter how big or small. There's this awesome video that shows if I wanted to go from where I am to across the room, I'm not just gonna try to leap over there, I'm gonna take little steps along the way. So they put little pieces of paper out for you to walk on. And what that's doing is it literally just shows that the small wins along the way help us get to the destination. So it's very important to do that. So you can use these if you'd like to build a certain culture. This is a great way to ask questions, to have them start a conversation so that you're building that together. Number 12 is another one of my favorites. When we're learning from our mistakes or failures, this is great. So what comes to mind when I say fantastic failures? What was a fantastic failure that you've experienced in the last 6 months to a year? And how did it contribute to your growth and learning? You know, it's learning from those mistakes. And a lot of times they can learn from those mistakes and then they can share those with the team. And what you're creating is a fail forward, right? We don't fail, we learn so that we can continue to grow. So I love that one as well. Now let's look at you personally. This is igniting the leader within. How do I stay motivated and focused on my goals? What daily practices help me maintain this focus, and how do I track my progress? This is a great question when I am setting goals, when I feel like I'm not achieving my goals or I'm not getting anywhere. I can sit down and I can think about and reflect on what I need to do to track my progress, to start motivating myself. Maybe it's little videos, maybe it's spending time with family, maybe it's creating a vision board. Whatever it is, I need to step back. Because I'm too in the weeds, I'm getting discouraged, etc. This is a great time to do that. These are also great for leadership meetings. If you wanted all your leaders to take out a piece of paper and answer these questions, this is a great opportunity to do that. How do I handle stress and prevent burnout? What specific self-care practices do I incorporate into my daily schedule? And how do I know when to take a break? You know, taking care of ourselves, there's a mental health crisis. I mean, like, we have to take care of ourselves in order to take care of others. Just like being on the plane and we need to put on our own mask before we put somebody else's on, it's very important for us to take care of ourselves. What about how do I seek feedback on my leadership performance? How am I getting feedback, right? Is it from my people? Maybe it's from my leader, from my leadership team. How do I ensure that this feedback is candid and constructive? And then how do I act on it? Right? So these are just great questions that I can sit back and I can think about for myself, for my own growth, just simply asking questions, right? And again, feel free to use these front and back in a leadership team meeting as well. Now let's talk about our team. Now this is great for either a new leader just starting and they want to build the foundation or a culture for the team. Or you've been doing this forever, you're very experienced, and you want to get kind of a fresh start with the team, or you want to get the edge, right? Or you want to take your team to the next level. This is when you use these. And then it's like, instead of me just doing the work over and over and being like, oh man, I could have done that better, right? Reflecting after, I'm actually reflecting before. So it could be, how do I motivate my team during challenging times? Can I share an example of a difficult period and how I kept morale high? And then what lessons did I learn from that experience? And then what about attracting top talent? What strategies do I use to attract top talent? And then how do I evaluate if the candidate is a good culture fit? This is important. Cultural fit with my team. And then how do I onboard new members effectively, right? So these are putting in place processes, frameworks to get the most out of my team, to bring the best people, to prevent issues down the road. As I'm looking through this, there are so many good ones. How do I ensure clear and open communication within my team? What barriers have I encountered, and how do I overcome them to enhance communication? I think about it. Maybe I Google, maybe I look for, an article, or I watch a podcast or something where I'm trying to fill in those gaps, and I just fill my brain instead of constantly thinking about these issues in my head. I'm sitting down, I'm reflecting, I'm writing it out, I'm doing some research, and then I'm handling this one topic at a time. You want to handle that topic at a time, come up with a solution, maybe get some feedback from your team, maybe get some of the champions on your team to help you build it, and then you execute. And then that's one thing off of your brain that you're actually putting into motion. So instead of just keeping all this in your head, start to ask these questions, create an action plan, put it into place, and then rinse and repeat for different topics. And look, I did this for 20 different topics pretty much. Whether it's remote, whether it's morale, whether it's being valued and heard, whether it's innovation, all of that is right here. So sit down and go through it by yourself first, and then if you want to bring it to your leadership team, absolutely. And then finally, this is one of my favorites. A lot of us, as we grow as leaders, we want a seat at the table. Well, if you want to be heard, if you want to be valued by your organization, if you want to be seen as someone they need to listen to, then you want to be a futurist. You want to be looking around the corner at what is coming and how can we adapt and how can we shift and have some opinions about it. So instead of racing constantly, and you're Netflixing and whatever, sit back and think about these things. Be thoughtful, make some decisions in your own mind on what you think about these and be able to articulate it when you're given the opportunity. Because look, you're never gonna get, just the one-time interview for the next position. You're constantly being interviewed for that position. And this is a great opportunity to show them, man, this person is extremely valuable for the organization. They're not just thinking about their team. They're not just thinking about the right now. They're thinking about the future, and we need to listen to them. Whether it's articles, podcasts, videos, whatever it is that you're watching, you're consuming, and this will help you. Okay, so I've done this one before, but the market trends, I love that. I put different topics here for you to make it very, very easy for you. Whether it's crisis management, my goodness, what potential crises could we face in the future? How prepared are we right now? And then what plans need to be put in place to handle these crises effectively? There's a challenge coming up and we haven't really thought about it, but based on my research, maybe it's the customer experience. What changes can we implement to improve our customer experience? Now, again, you don't have to go cross-functionally and tell everybody what to do, but if you have some thoughts for your own department that can impact other people, then you'll be brought to that cross-functional leadership meeting, and people want to hear your thoughts. You might even interview some of the cross-functional players, and all of a sudden you find out a few things that help with your argument, with your thoughts, with your own perspective, and you can share that, not stepping on people's toes, but just giving a different perspective. So those are the things that you want to look for. This is just fantastic. Workplace culture. How can I shape our workplace culture to support our strategic goals? What values should be emphasized? And how can we maintain this culture as we grow? See, now this type of thing is, if let's say I'm a sales manager, I can't, shape the entire culture of the organization, but I can be a strategic partner with the HR and provide feedback from our department and shape our own culture within the organization. So these are all extremely valuable. So let's do a quick review on how I'm going to use this. First, I'm going to choose a category to focus in on. I'm going to review them all just one time through and just start to highlight things that stand out to me, And then I'm going to take note and reflect on how am I going to ask this, when am I going to ask this, to who am I going to ask this, We just found out that in one-on-ones, team meetings, there might be specific questions that I'm going to ask to different people in one-on-ones or for different times of the year. Maybe there's a focus area and I want to really dial into that. For reflection, where am I? Am I developing myself? Am I trying to develop my team, or am I trying to become a thought leader? Decide on those things and then start to execute. And little by little start to review and tweak and refine and reshape these and be super intentional. So my whole goal is for you to spark that meaningful dialogue, for you to become a more effective, not only communicator yourself, but to get the most out of your team and increase that engagement across your entire team. So ask these questions, then share it with your leadership team to help them level up as well. And then if you want to go even deeper, make sure you grab the Complete Leader package that's down below, and that comes with 101 more leadership questions, your Complete Leader Playbook, concepts, ideas, scripts, templates, a ton to help you master the fundamentals of leadership. And then, of course, it comes with these printable 52 team meeting activity cards. This is my favorite. Check this out. Each of them come with a description, an objective, easy to use instructions, materials, and then on the back, I give you the opportunity to write in debrief questions, takeaways, and action items. So each week you can just grab one out. Boom, there we go. Opposites attract. What is that? We're ready to go. So grab the Complete Leader package down below. Look, our focus is to give you everything you need to lead, to inspire, and to achieve. Thank you for leading out there. Now, if you're trying to transition from a manager into a leader, I walk you through exactly how to do that in this 6 E's of leadership video right here. Check it out.